We should
All
be.
right. How's it going?
It's going really well, actually. So I'm really excited to see you again, to go live again. I've never gone live on YouTube before. Well, actually, I think I went like live like once or twice on YouTube before, but that's a very long time ago. So it's about time to do this again. And in this setting, it's even better, I think. With so having someone join me as well, which is way more exciting than just me by myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, should be
I've
fun.
I've never done a YouTube live. And actually, I think I've only done two Instagram lives. Um, but it's such a different way of doing content. 'Cause I'm so used to things being more like organized and structured, and live is just
Yeah.
so different.
It definitely is. And for me as well, like I'm used to like 30-second videos. So doing like a 1 hour live for me is like a complete difference. But that's great because it's way more exciting. And like my goal for this year is just to build a community with my for my audience basically. And going live is the best way to do that, I think, because it's just about spending a lot of time with people that follow you. And what is short, I mean, they watch me for 30 seconds, but it's not even me. It's usually my blender. So now
Mhm.
it's just actually me. It's 1 hour and at least like a longer time, which is great for me. Way more exciting, and I'm actually doing it a lot lately. Like basically on my Dutch YouTube channel, my Dutch TikTok, I try to go live like a few times per week actually. So I'm
Really?
getting
Oh,
better at it, I think.
I didn't know that. Okay, tell me about your Dutch channel because I actually didn't know that you started that.
Yeah, it was kind of something that had to happen because last year I was mainly focusing on this YouTube channel, of course, and
Mhm.
that made sense because that made a lot of money for me, and it was just something that was growing so fast. I think I grew like 1 million in a year or something, which was crazy.
Mhm.
But the videos were just a little bit repetitive, and people that follow me might think the same. Like it's always the same video. It's never me. It's always just a satisfying smoothie, and it's very
Mhm.
appealing to watch. But for me, as now I'm doing this full time, it gets a bit boring, and you really want to build a community. You want people to know you, and that was not really the case. So I was like, I need to try something new, try new content, different type of content. And I was like, what if I make a Dutch channel? Then that will be way easier because then I can try more things. Because here on this channel, it's kind of I want to stick to what works. But
Yeah.
on New channel, which has 0 followers, I can just kind of experiment like I don't know, a few years maybe. But I didn't really. I posted maybe like a few videos per year, and I had like a few hundred followers at most. And then I think at the end of last year, when I was like really kind of like in a creative burnout phase, where I was like not a bit fed up with posting these videos specifically, and then I was like, let's post a little bit more. I think I posted like maybe once a month or something, and a few videos got like a few 100,000 views. So it was pretty exciting to me because in the Netherlands, like a few 100,000 is a lot of people
Yeah.
basically because there's only like maybe a few million people on TikTok there. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
different
different to
over
the
here.
US. And so yeah, that was going really well. And then I basically, I think in the start of this year, I was like really I was like screw it. I'm just gonna focus on that Dutch channel. I kind of forget about my long form channel a little bit. Like people that follow
Really?
me that are watching might have noticed that I've only posted like a few times per month on this channel because I was like, let's try this Dutch channel and see what happens.
Mhm.
And yeah, that I think this year I started posting like once a week maybe, and kind of gradually increased from there. And that was going so well actually. I've had like especially last 2 weeks were crazy. I think I had like 3 million views, which is crazy because like I said, we only have like 3 or 4 million people. So basically everyone that's on
Mhm.
TikTok in the Netherlands has seen my videos now, which is pretty
Wow.
crazy to me that basically everyone wants to watch smoothie videos because that sounds so niche, right? But for some
Yeah.
reason everyone wants to watch it. And I think part of the reason why that worked so well is because um, those people have seen my videos, my these videos that you see on this channel for years basically, but they never knew that there was a Dutch guy behind that. And now I'm
Right.
kind of sharing, okay, I'm this Dutch guy that made all of these smoothie videos, and they're really interested in learning more about that. And these videos are way more exciting for me, like I said, because I actually make recipes, I actually show my face, I actually have voiceovers, I actually speak in the videos, so it's way more there's way more character in there, which is so fulfilling for me to make. So that's why I'm focusing so much on that channel now. And I'm now at I think 11,000 followers on TikTok, which was like 3 weeks ago I had like 1,000 or something. So that was really
Yeah.
crazy to me.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
like,
So is this all short form or is this also long form? Are you doing
yeah,
both?
so it's short. But I when I was in Bali last month, I actually recorded my first long form video, which is going to go on my Dutch YouTube channel probably next week. So that's super exciting
Nice.
for me as well because I was like, I've learned from my mistakes where I was with this channel really focusing on shorts only, and I
Mhm.
was like, that's not where really connection happens. So I was like, let's move over to long form right away when I start getting some momentum. And yeah, I got a really cool video lined up. I basically was in Bali, of course. I was like, Bali is the perfect setting to make a long form YouTube video. So I
Yeah.
basically made a video, and the title will be, I mean, of course, it will be in Dutch, but in English, it translates to testing 1-star rated smoothies in Bali. So
Mm.
basically, found all these places that have very bad reviews on their smoothie bowls. And then I actually read those reviews and I go to those places to find out if it's as bad as the reviews say.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. It was really nice to record. I think it will be a fun video, and it's just the first video. So even if it doesn't work, you know how important it is just to start posting videos and just get out there and be consistent. But yeah, it should be fun.
Consistency and also just like experimenting. I feel like to me, I've been in the experimental phase. I'm like anything that I think about, I'll try to just make because I feel like you'll only find out if you just do it, you know?
So
And
true.
so even with if it's long form, I've been doing a lot of rating coffee shop videos.
Saw
And
those.
that's so fun because I feel like it gives you a specific theme to talk about and something that is exciting to you that you love and that you're passionate about. And
Yeah.
so I've just been doing that in Portland. I feel like it's also been getting me to know the city a little bit more too. Like it probably pushed you out of your comfort zone to go try different places in Bali that you like might not have been before, you know?
True. Yeah, I think that's so exciting about YouTube that of course you're doing it to as a career, but also you go to places where you would never have gone before. And in your case, you're going to all these coffee shops. I mean, knowing how passionate you are about coffee, probably you would have gone there anyway,
I
but
know.
now it's more of an excuse to go there a
Yeah.
bit
I'm like,
sooner,
now I do
probably.
it for the content, you know?
Yeah,
For the
for sure.
content, even though I probably definitely would have gone before.
I think so,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah. So how long were you in Bali for? You were there for a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, I was there for a month because I basically go there every year, and every year I come to the conclusion that it's not long enough. So this time
Mhm.
was like this. This time I'm going for a month. I think last year was less than 3 weeks, which is a little bit too short. So I went there for a month now, which is really exciting. Just went to one space, one co-living space, and brought my blender, and I brought all my equipment and my superfoods, and brought everything I have to make these videos. So people on this channel might have seen some of my videos that were recorded in Bali.
Mhm.
That was really nice, and yeah, it was really cool to be there. Meet lots of other YouTubers as well. Like just going to the gym, you randomly meet YouTubers, and that doesn't happen back home. So that's really cool to be on those type of places, I think.
Was it because of the co-working space that you were at where you're around other YouTubers, or is Bali just kind of a hub for people who make content?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the hub. So it doesn't really matter as long as you go to places. Like if you go to co-living, if you go to the gym, if you go for lunch or dinner, you'll just randomly meet those type of people.
Really?
So that's really easy there, and that's why I need to go there because being back home is great. You're with your friends and family, but sometimes you need to find like colleagues as well if you're doing some
Mhm.
such a lonely profession as being a YouTuber. And yeah,
Mhm.
Bali is like a hub for that, like you said, and I'm always really excited to be there. Always, also really excited to be back because it's also very crowded and stuff like that. But it's good to just go there once a year for like I couldn't live there. Some people actually that I met, of course, live there, and I think that's way
Mhm.
too intense. But
Yeah.
just going there for like once a month, 1 month for every year, that's a great move, I think.
Going back to how it's a very kind of, I don't want to say isolating, but it's like you pretty much work by yourself with yourself and you're kind of in charge of doing your own content day in and day out. Like, how have you navigated that? Because that's something that when I started making content, I wasn't aware of that at all. Like, you see things online and it feels like such a community, but being online and having a community there is so different than having a community in real life and going into an office and meeting people um like every single day. And so I'm just curious, like, what has your experience been being kind of by yourself running your own business? Because you've been doing it for a while now. And that's something that I'm kind of struggling with that right now. Especially
That
moving
makes
to a new
sense.
city because I don't know that many people in Portland now anyways. And so it's good and it's bad. You know, there are pros and cons, but I'm curious like what your experience has been.
Yeah, so I think that's probably one of the most underrated things in terms of how difficult that is when you're a creator because like it sounds so cool, like people following you, you get like DMs all the
Mhm.
time, and now we're going live and there's 50 people watching, and that sounds like you're surrounded by people, but it's all just numbers on a screen, right? So
Mhm.
my normal daily work, my normal days are just me by myself in my studio making videos, and like there's no
Yeah.
one around me apart from maybe my girlfriend, and other than that, I'm just by myself,
Mhm.
and that is very difficult. But I feel like you can manage with that as long as you know a lot of people that are doing the same thing. But I think that's also one of the most difficult things that like even in the weekends or whatever, I don't see that many creators on a regular basis, because like everyone is doing their thing, everyone is focusing on building their channel, and I think that's so difficult that you're. I mean, if I just in a week, let's say every once a week, for example, I would meet up with a group of creators, kind of like colleagues, and talk to them and share like struggles, stuff like that. But that's difficult to find those type of places, those type of people where you like really kind of friends or whatever with those type of people. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's difficult for me because, of course, you can go to like co-working spaces wherever you live or stuff like that. But really finding people that are doing the exact same thing is very difficult, because you might go to a
Yeah.
co-working space, but people are doing maybe freelance marketing, maybe they have an e-commerce brand, maybe whatever. It's all really cool. It's all really inspiring. But you want to talk to people like, oh, I made this bad YouTube video. It was a 10 out of 10. It was really frustrating to me. And
Yeah.
then seeing that people really understand that. And that's very difficult to find for me. Like I said, for me, it helps that if you're in a small country, like if you have a lot of subscribers, you're like in the US, I'm no one in terms of subscribers, but in the Netherlands, like it's a lot of people in terms of how many subscribers I have. So there, I like
Mhm.
get invited to a lot of events and stuff like that, and that really helps. I
Yeah.
think that kind of gets me going. That I have like those type of events where you meet like top tier creators that are like
Hmm.
kind of ahead of me as well. I
Yeah.
think that helps me. But yeah, it's one of the most difficult things, and something I think about every day. Like, how do I find a lifestyle where I just spend time with kind of colleagues every day? And I haven't really found a solution to that either. And I'm doing this for like 8 years now, so imagine how difficult it
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah, and it's so true, because working in a creative industry and in the creative world, it's great because you're around like-minded people, but it's still so different than making content. And especially you probably feel this way because not everybody makes satisfying smoothie videos. Like it's all very individual and kind of niche, you know? And so ironically, I think it's because my perspective was that I always watched vlogs. So most people who I thought made content probably made lifestyle videos. But it's been so difficult for me to find people who make lifestyle videos. I don't even think I know one person.
Yeah,
And it's just so interesting because like before I started making content, I was like, "Oh, that's what everybody does." You know, cuz
yeah.
but it was just my perspective.
Yeah, you're kind of like in a bubble as well when you're really focusing on that
Yeah.
type of content. And I've kind of given up on meeting people that are doing the exact same thing as me, because like there's probably like two or three smoothie creators like in the entire world basically that are doing kind of something similar to
Yeah.
me, and actually meeting those is probably impossible. So for me, it does really help if you meet people that are like doing something similar. I feel like maybe with lifestyle might be a bit easier because it's still a very small group, but it's a little bit bigger than smoothie
Mhm.
creators. But
Definitely,
for
yeah.
me, I feel like I'm not no longer niching myself down as a smoothie creator, but more like a food creator. So I
Mhm.
know some food creators now that feels really similar because they work with the same brands, and
Mhm.
they kind of understand the same struggles. And I've kind of found that it doesn't really matter that much what people are making in terms of. I mean, I met a guy in Bali, for example, and he makes videos about fighting, basically fights like kickboxing, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Totally different industry, obviously, but he's just like me, focusing on his click-through rate and on his average view duration and his
Right.
views. And it's still like very similar what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. The title of the video and the thumbnail might be different, but kind of your process, like how you go about that, is pretty much the same. So I think that really helped for me, that I kind of accept now that any YouTuber, anyone that does YouTube full time, is for me a really inspiring connection.
Mhm.
And yeah, and they kind of understand your struggles. And but even then, yeah, like I said, that's difficult to find. I would love to have like a YouTube or content creator co-working space is like dedicated to that, and only putting people there and having like
Yeah.
all the equipment in a co-working space. I would move wherever that is on the planet. Basically, I would move there. That would
Okay,
be
let's
really
start
exciting.
one.
Yeah,
We'll
that would be
start one
nice.
right now.
Is Portland a good place
Um,
for that?
I know. Hopefully, maybe. It
Yeah,
might just
we
be
can
us
make it
two,
into
but
that.
no, I've been seeing sometimes. Yeah, do you have an Osmo Pocket 3?
I should get one for sure.
Yes, I've been seeing some people around in Portland, and I've literally been going up to people, being like, "Oh, do you make content?"
Oh, nice.
Because I'm like, yeah, it's a good icebreaker, and I don't know, Osmo Pocket 3, like people who have those kinds of cameras, I'm like, I don't know, I have a good shot to see if you're a content creator or not.
True. And how did that go? Like, did people respond to that in a positive way, or how did that?
Yeah, yeah. Some just had it because they were traveling, but then other people actually did make content, and so we just kind of like chatted about it. So it's a good icebreaker.
Oh, that's nice. It's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah. So when you have been making content over the past 8 years, what was kind of the process to get to monetization? Like, did it take you a while? And then also, once you did start monetizing, like, how did you balance the workload? Because I feel like I get burnt out pretty quickly because I feel like it never ends for me.
Yeah.
And especially doing lifestyle, it's like from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, I am making content, you know? And everything that I do is pretty much content. And so, like, how do you create boundaries? How do you separate, like, when you work and when you don't?
Yeah, it's very difficult, like especially if you make content like at home. And then I think that's a huge struggle. Like I'm now actually in an office, which is great because
Mhm.
I live like in a studio apartment, so that's where I make my content usually. But I'm thinking about getting an office just to kind of get that separation and kind of because I also struggle a lot with burnout. I think on a daily basis, I'm like kind of thinking about how do I make sure I don't get a burnout, and I think it's something I kind of have to balance on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And for me, it works really well. Like maybe we talked about that last time as well. That I have two phones, which is great.
Yeah, that's
That's
really
been
good.
really helpful for me because, like, just in the evening or on the weekends. Yesterday, for example, just had kind of like a day with my family. We just went out for lunch, went out hiking, and then I only have my private phone with me, which is this one, which only has like Google Chrome and it has WhatsApp, and that's everything it has on it. So it's no
Mhm.
Instagram, no YouTube, no TikTok, whatever, which has been really helpful, I think, to kind of balance like relaxation as well.
Yeah.
But it's just really difficult because I feel like there's a lot of pressure that I'd never expected. I was like, when you have like a certain amount of subscribers, in my case, like now 1.7 million something, then you're like, oh, then you kind of have like this level where you can kind of consistently grow and you're kind of settled in terms of like revenue and whatever.
Mhm.
But that was like so different now that I've noticed like you have like a certain number. In my case, it's like it used to be like 100 million views every month. That was what I needed to hit to make a certain number to be able to do this full time, basically. And that
Yeah.
feels like a lot of pressure. Like every day, you feel like you have to post in order to maintain that level.
Right.
And yeah, at one point, I kind of dropped below that level by like I think we talked about that. Like my views dropped by like 70% or something. And
Mhm.
I think that was a good thing for me because then I was realizing I was chasing views so much, and that puts on so much pressure for you. And like every time you make a video that you're like really passionate about, but it's like a 10 out of 10, it flops completely, then that's so crushing for your ego, for everything you're doing basically.
And you
And
second guess yourself. You're like, "Oh, that was a
yeah,
bad video," you know? You, like, equate the video quality to the views, and
yep,
sometimes I'll look back and be like, "You know what? That wasn't a bad video." Like, maybe the algorithm just it wasn't it for that day or whatever it was, but I'm like, I need to stay positive about the content that I'm making," you know?
yeah, for sure. I think that's so difficult. It doesn't sound difficult, but as soon as you like get into this, you really notice how difficult that can be. I think you can testify to that. And it's for me, it's like I said, sometimes on this channel, for example, I made the videos that I was most passionate about, and those flop. And the videos I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that was not great to make. Those are like performing the best, bringing the most revenue. And
Yeah.
that's what I said. I was like, I need to have like a second channel where I kind of experiment. I don't care about views. And actually, it was like so interesting that the less I cared about views, the better videos performed. Because I made some videos, for example, one of them was on my Dutch channel where actually I showed my face first, so I didn't even show my smoothie at first. I used a voiceover. I talked about that I was sick as a kid and that kind of was my motivation to start this channel. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's such a personal video. People will not care about that at all. And actually combined with YouTube and TikTok, I had like 1 million views. So I had 1 million people watching me talking about my disease that I had as a kid. And it was like, that was so insane to me. And that's just by letting go of views and just focusing on making something I was really passionate about. And for some
Mhm.
reason, it really worked well. So I mean, if I would have posted that on this channel, to be honest, it would have flopped. But on a new channel
Okay.
where there's like less of pressure, I think, from and also less expectations from your audience,
Mhm.
then that was really possible. So yeah, it's really difficult to navigate this and balance this. And yeah, I think that's something I will never really fully grasp and never really will fully. I think something you have to accept a little bit that it's just not a standard career where it's just a little bit difficult to maintain a balanced lifestyle, I think, with this profession.
Yeah. Do you feel like you would ever start experimenting on this channel just
Yeah,
because you want to, you know, like not with the views, not with anything. Like maybe your audience might not want to see it, but it's like maybe if you just keep doing it consistently, like that can also become part of your channel, you know?
yeah, exactly. I think it would be such a shame to be like, okay, this channel only accepts like the satisfying smoothies for us, kind of like ASMR, nothing
Right.
else. and that then kind of maybe the channel dies down at one point, and that's not something I want to happen, because like this is my baby, this is what I've been building for the last 3 years basically. Um, and in order to like be able to do this long term, I have to let go of expectations of views and money and whatever, and just post what you're happy about. So yeah, I do think that's gonna. I'm not there yet because I'm still kind of like trying to hold on to the
Yeah.
views and stuff like that. But I do definitely have to make a move where I kind of focus on just content I'm really passionate about. I've been trying to do that with long form. There's a few long form videos on this channel where it's like actually me. It's like way more personal. We talked about that video last time where I'm like, I go to Amsterdam, go to the farmers market, and just
Yeah.
take people on that journey, and it performed way better than I expected. It didn't go viral, but I think it's now like 15,000 views, which is still pretty nice to me. That people for some reason care about that, and yeah,
I
that
love
I think
that.
that yeah, for
You know, I
sure.
love those videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I need to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're one of my subscribers as well, so
Yep. Okay, so what about consistency on social media, content in general? Like, I think people, I don't know, I personally hear a lot of different things. Like, I'll see some things that you need to post 6 times a day or 3 times a day, and then experiment. Like, how do you plan out what you're going to make? Because I've been recently trying to make a deck for each YouTube video that I will be coming out within the next week. And I'm just trying to be like a lot more structured. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't know. Again, this is probably just my perspective of pre-making content, but I just thought people would film random points in their life and then post it, and then that was kind of it. Like, there was no structure or planning.
yeah.
And I don't think some people, I didn't realize how much planning and thought goes into every single video that's made. And so, how do you like, what does your process look like when you're making content, whether that's short form or long form?
I think I can learn a lot from you actually in terms of consistency. Like I'm a pretty unorganized, chaotic guy essentially. So what it looks like for me basically is I wake up in the morning, and in the morning I'm the most creative. I'm like, okay, look, what kind of video are we making today? Because I have the benefit I can make a video in a day because it's shorter form content usually, of course.
Mhm.
So it'll just be in the morning. I'll be, like I said, I'm really creative. I'll be like, okay, I feel like making this type of video, and then I just in a few hours I actually make that complete video from script to like we're talking now. I'm kind of talking more about like a Dutch video now, so where I have like a voiceover and actually show my face, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But of course, it's short form content, so it makes it a bit easier. So I didn't really plan it out because, like I said, in the morning, like when I wake up, I went to the gym. I'm really creative. I'm really positive. That's why I need to
Mhm.
be like, okay, I basically go to my TikTok comments or YouTube comments, and then I'm like, okay, what are people asking? And usually what I try to do is find like top comments, so the ones that have the most likes. Like, what do people want to know, and what do other people also say that they want to know? So in my case, it usually is like, what blender do you use? What kind of protein powder do you add to your smoothies?
Mhm.
Whatever the top comment is of basically one of the videos that I've posted in the last few days, I might use that as inspiration basically, and then I write a script basically, and that kind of comes to me, and like I can write a script in like 1 or 2 minutes basically, that kind of
Really?
comes naturally, and then I record it, and usually I record in one take now as well. I'm getting better at doing voiceovers nowadays, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just uploaded it in one day, and like I said, it really helps that I make short form content. I feel like with long form content I would need to make a lot of steps in order to be like way more organized, because it's and to plan certain titles, thumbnails, which like working on something way more well, it takes something that takes way more time.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of going there like with my Dutch YouTube channel as well, because if you want to make money with a Dutch YouTube channel, well, shorts is not it, because it's, of course, you're not getting paid much, and long form is a bit easier.
Mhm.
Um, so what I'm doing now in terms of, and this is not just to promote another company, but just I'm using Spotter Studio a lot, which has been
Oh,
really
yeah.
helpful for me because, of course, they have that. This is kind of like a software, and they help you with coming up with titles and thumbnails, which is great, of course. But maybe for me, even more importantly, they also have like an ID bank where you can save all of your video IDs. And also have like dates, so you can kind of stamp, okay, I want to upload this video that on that day, and kind of like a calendar where you have like, yeah, kind of like a content calendar essentially.
Mhm.
And I kind of need stuff like that because, like I said, I'm very chaotic. Otherwise, there's no structure to my business at all, at least not to my creator side of the business. So that's really helpful for me. And it doesn't have to be like Sputter. It doesn't have to be any software. You can also just have that in your notes, maybe, or maybe a Notion file, whatever.
Like
I
your
think for a lot of
calendar.
creators, that's really great. Do you have something like that, like a content calendar? How you do manage that?
Um, I've tried different things, and I feel like the only thing I've really been using is Google. Like I'll use Google Drive, Google Calendar, and I just kind of plan out my days that way. But I think sometimes I put too much pressure on myself that I need to upload and do so much. So
Mm.
for me, if I post one long form video a week, it feels not enough for me to post one short form content a day. And so I'll be like, I need to post 3 a day. I need to do one long form a day. I need to
Mm.
do, I don't know, all these different things. And sometimes I'm like, this is so unrealistic. I need to like dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've been taking one day out of the week to just plan. So I'll make my YouTube, it's kind of like a pitch deck. And it's just slides where I talk about different shots that I want to take. I'll even put in different outfit ideas that I might want to wear in my videos. Like it's very specific because I feel like I just need to have like some sense of control over what I'm making, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I'll just be like, okay, if I'm filming and all of a sudden I blank on what to talk about, I'll go to my deck and be like, here are some good talking points that I already looked up about this coffee shop or this restaurant that I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
Especially because I don't really know this area super well yet. And so I like researching beforehand. Um, but that's kind of what I've been doing is just like in my deck, I just put all the information I might possibly need when I'm making my long form video. And then I link different like inspo videos for short form too. So I'll do long form and short form. And sometimes I forget when I'm filming to make short form content, but the
Mm.
idea is that if I am at a coffee shop, I can link to the video that I got inspiration from and kind of like pull from that in the moment. So
Oh yeah.
that at least like I have kind of an idea. Cause a lot of our or my videos are kind of like montage videos or very specific themes. And they're very different, you know? So some could be about my life here at home, and then it's about coffee, and then it's about hiking or working out. Like it's just a bunch of different kinds of things. And so in your day to day, sometimes I just forget to take a video or take a photo, you know?
Yeah, that makes
So I'm
sense.
trying to get in the habit of it.
Yeah. And how many shorts do you now make on a weekly basis, like on average?
On average, you know, I've kind of flip-flopped. I feel like I go kind of extreme on one and the other. Right now I've been really trying to go heavy on on the stories, on Instagram stories.
Oh
So
yeah,
I've
nice.
kind of gone through phases. I've gone through like I'm going to post 3 a day on Instagram, and then I started posting like 2 or 3 a week on long form content on my channel. You know, I was just trying whether it was a podcast or an unedited vlog where it feels like totally raw and natural, or an edited vlog. I was trying a bunch of different things. So I would say on average, probably like once every few days.
Yeah, it's
One every
pretty nice
yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, one every 2 to 3 days I feel like I've been doing on Reels recently.
Pretty impressive. I mean, like you talked about that, like consistency is so important, I think. And I think honestly for me now, because I was also like putting a lot of pressure on myself, like I was posting pretty much every day last year. I think I made about 365 videos last year,
Wow.
um, which was too much. But that felt like, okay, the more videos I post, the more money I make. That's kind of how it felt.
Mhm,
But at the end of the year, when I was kind of analyzing, I was like, okay, I made 365 videos, but out of those videos, maybe, I don't know, let's say 10 went viral, and the others just had like maybe 100,000 views or whatever, not much. And most of those views came from viral videos, kind of like an oil stain going to other videos.
mhm,
Um, so most of the views came just from like it's kind of like the Pareto principle, right? Where you have like 20% of the videos kind of gave 80% of the results.
mhm,
And then I was like, why did I post the other 80%? What's the point of that? Of course, you have to find those 20% that will perform well, but it
mhm,
felt like very a lot of effort for just finding those videos. And it was at the end of the year, basically, I was like, what if I just start posting way less, like that talked about, like maybe this year on average on this channel I might have posted only maybe 5 videos per month actually, which is like way lower of course than once a day. Maybe once
mhm.
a week is kind of what I was posting on. And actually now it's pretty funny, actually it's pretty funny that we're doing this live today, because on my main channel, this channel that we're talking about right now, is actually yesterday was the most amount of views I've ever had in one day, just by posting 5 videos per month, which is not much at all.
Wow.
um, And I think that's because I'm putting less pressure myself, so I'm more creative because of that. And when I make a video, I'm like, okay, it has to be really good, basically, because that's only the only video I'm posting on that week. And I think
Mm-hmm.
when you're just starting out, maybe in the phase that you're at, I think having a lot of high numbers of videos is great, because then you can test a lot, you can see what formats work well.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have like build up an audience, I think it might actually be better to post less. That's something I never
Mm-hmm.
expected, but for me, that's been working really, really well because, like I said, maybe last year on average, I had like 1 or 2 million views every day on YouTube. And now, for example, today or yesterday, I should say, because always you can only see yesterday's views. I think it was 12 million views in one day on YouTube, just YouTube, which is really
Mm-hmm.
insane to me. I've never
Yeah.
had that before. Of course, it's kind of helped as well that now they count the views different, of course, since a
Mm-hmm.
few days ago. So now it's a bit different, but still, it's views is a view is a view.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 12.5 million views, and for me, that's the reason. The reason, of, like I said, because that I have that is because just I was posting way less, which sounds so strange because you're posting less, but you're getting more results.
Mm-hmm.
Never, like I said, never expected that. And now my Dutch channel, I'm just starting out. So then I'm posting every day. I'm posting every day on that channel, or maybe
Right.
6 times a week. But as soon as I have built up like an audience, maybe let's say at one point I have like 100,000 followers, then I'll just get back to really posting really high quality content, and that's also
Mm-hmm.
more appealing to brands and stuff like that, I think. So yeah, it's been really good insight, and it's great about being a creator that sometimes you feel like you're like really a high level creator, whatever, but then you just learn so much new things, and every time you feel like, oh, I didn't know nothing like a year ago. I was just such a noob.
Yes. Yeah, you learn so much. I feel like you learn so much about yourself too, doing all this, because you're basically running your own business, you're running your own company, and you're coming up with all these ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I feel like I've learned so much about myself. And somebody asked me recently, I think there can be kind of a negative connotation to people who make content, but I was like, and I'm sure there are some people who might have an ego, but honestly, who doesn't in the world, you know? But I feel like for me, especially editing videos and everything, I was like, you just learn how to be so confident in what you're trying to say or convey. And if you didn't like the way you said this, you just kind of twist it so that you can learn the next time, you know? And it's like, you just can't really be super insecure. Like, you have to be confident in yourself when you're going into this. And that's running any sort of business, because it's really hard to do it and not just be confident in yourself, you know, and like believe
Yeah.
in what you're doing.
So true. I think that's really well said. And I think for me as well, like growing up, I was like, I was always like the shy, like very quiet kid, basically. And now you're in front of a camera talking. And I think
Yeah.
Bali was a good moment as well. Like I was just in the street filming myself. Like you're doing that every time as well. I think
Yes.
you're even more experienced with that than me. But for me, that was kind of new, just filming myself, just talking to the camera. And sometimes I was watching this footage back and was seeing people like looking back on me like,
Yeah.
what's that guy doing, right? And I don't care about it anymore. I feel like that's really nice, like you said, having that confidence, and I never had that
Hmm.
growing up. And I would have never had that if I didn't have this YouTube channel. I think that's
Yeah.
really great as well. And just apart from just like being able to talk in front of a camera, like having those talking skills, I think it's also just it gives me a lot of confidence that it kind of this is my identity, right? I'm Penitas basically. I'm a YouTuber, and I think that gives me so much confidence. Like maybe I don't. It's not an ego or something, but I just feel like yeah, this is just my identity, and it helps if you know like, oh, I'm this and this guy. This is my personality. Especially if
Yeah.
you're doing a channel that's like really connected to what you're all about, what you're passionate about. I think that gives
Hmm.
me a lot of sense of community maybe as well, that you're yeah similar to other people, and you found kind of your tribe as well, which is really important in life, I think, as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I mean,
that's
it's
great.
like what you're passionate about. So it's like, of course, I feel like it has to kind of attach to your identity to an extent, you know? Because
Yeah,
they're
for
like,
sure.
this is what you do. It's what you think about. I think about it literally all day. And
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it's
That's a
really
good thing and
hard.
a bad thing, I guess. But
I
it's
know.
definitely something I can never let it go. And like sometimes you're like I'm so sick. I'm so obsessed, basically. Like in terms of like whenever I'm in bed, I'm always like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, so now I'm at yesterday I was at 5 million views. Today I'm at four, and I'm just really thinking about the views and the numbers, and you feel like, oh, that's so unhealthy. But on the other hand, it's also pretty nice that you're like so passionate about a certain thing.
Right.
I think it's just really important to be able to let go as well. Like
Hmm.
last year I worked like basically 7 days a week, which is I can't handle that. I've just noticed that. So now I try to
Hmm.
just take a weekend at least like once a week, sorry, to just completely don't work on my phone, not look at YouTube, not look at TikTok, whatever. I think I kind of need that to reset.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's yeah, it's very very great to be a creator and stuff like that. But I think we should actually talk about that you have the huge milestone as well because you turned the YouTube partner since this week, right?
Yes, I'm
That's
so
really
excited about it.
exciting. Yeah. How is
Yeah.
that? How does that feel?
Well, this past weekend, I feel like I was kind of, I think I told, like, this week has just been really, really busy. And so I think I've been a little bit overwhelmed. And every single time that I've been kind of in this phase where I get overwhelmed or I get burnt out, something just like very beautiful happens. And whether that's like I get such a nice comment on YouTube or I meet somebody in real life who watches my videos and I'm like, oh, these are the reasons why I do it. And so, becoming a YouTube partner, I feel like is it feels like a milestone because you've been working so hard at something, but it's like it's just a little part of it that just makes you feel like you're doing the right things. But it's
Yeah.
like meeting people in real life or having the community aspect, like that, honestly, that truly is what keeps me going, you know?
Yeah.
Like especially meeting people in real life. Like that's something that I don't know, I just never really thought would happen, but it's so cool having those experiences and feeling like you're making an impact and you're building a community. And so it's cool having, the monetization kind of comes with numbers, but it's like those numbers are real people,
Yeah.
and those
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
are watching your videos.
And that's
And
so
so
difficult to grasp, I think, as well. Like let's say in your case, let's say a video flops. Let's say it gets 100 views, which it might be a little bit on the low side for your channel. That's still 100 people, and if those people are actually watching the video like till the end, that's like still pretty impactful, I think. And I think we
yeah.
kind of forget to realize that 100 people watching you is a lot, but for us, it's like, oh, that's a 10 out of 10. That's a bad video. Like you said
Right.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I have a couple of videos. I like started trying something new where I did a podcast that was very low editing and I just uploaded it. And I think one of them have like 250 views. And I still get such nice comments. And I'm like, if I get one comment that it impacted their day or it made them, understand what they're experiencing a little bit more because I shared it, I'm like, that's enough for me, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still in the newer phase where numbers matter, but it's not like I don't have a lot of like pressure in that aspect of it. And I'm not really pigeonholed into themes or things that I can actually post about. I'm experimenting right now. And
Yeah.
so it's, any type of comment that I get on stuff like that, I'm like, oh, these are, I don't know. I'm like, this is why I do it.
Yeah, and that can give you like months of fuel basically to keep on going. And
Hmm.
like we talked about before, it's like so easy to quit as a YouTuber because it just takes so long for to see something like this. And just
Hmm.
like you said, meeting someone in real life that has seen your videos, that can just get you going for like a few months to just keep on working on your goals basically.
Yeah.
And but how does that? Do you have an example of like how that went when you met someone that watched your videos, for example? How did that? Did you just meet? Did someone come up to you in the street, or just met someone and they've seen your videos, or how did that go?
Yeah, I've met up with a couple people who have DM'd me. Like I've gotten lunch with them.
Cool,
And even yesterday, or I think it was 2 days ago, somebody came up to me on the street. Um, and they were going to a coffee shop that I had recommended because it's my favorite one here in Portland.
nice.
And it was just such a wonderful chat. And it's so cool too, because when you, at least for me, like what I do lifestyle content, and so all my videos, it's who I am, like that's
Yeah.
my personality. That's exactly who I am is what you see on my YouTube channel. And so it's really cool seeing people in real life because I'm like, oh, we would be friends. Like
Yeah,
you're building that community because, they're watching you because it might be relatable or authentic or something that who they would want to be friends with. And so
yeah,
it's really cool seeing that you're building a community that is truly like what community you would build in real life.
yeah. That's really
Which
nice.
Yeah, which I wasn't really expecting, or I didn't know anything about it. But it's kinda cool seeing that come to fruition.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's amazing as well. Like that's what I would have loved to have done differently. Like I said before, I was always like chasing views and getting millions of views. Whereas I think it's way better to just focus on getting impact and just helping, just even if it's just one person. Because
Mhm,
also, if you're helping one person with your videos, you're probably helping more people as well. There's like a ton of people that are similar, they're looking for similar things as well. And
mhm.
I think that's so important. And the more I focus on that, that's at least what I'm doing all these things basically with the new channel with the Dutch one. And there,
Mhm.
like I've seen that the more I'm like, okay, what really is impactful for my audience, and it's usually like making like a really cool recipe that I'm actually really passionate about, stuff like that. And
Mhm.
you can actually seeing people in my case like, oh, I made that recipe that was so delicious, and I don't care if that video gets a 10,000 views, which is kind of low, or like maybe a million. But even
Mhm.
if it gets 10,000 views, then it will have so much impact because people are actually making the recipes. And also, it will not only get like 10,000 views, because if it has an impact on like I said, one person's life, then probably on other people they will also be making the recipes, enjoying that. And so
Mhm.
I'm trying to focus more on that. Like it's better to just make um, one fan basically than having 10,000 people scroll past your video for like 10 seconds and
Right.
then forgetting about it basically.
Yeah. And I also feel like I feel it when I'm watching my own videos back, but I feel like you really see and feel the energy that you're giving to the camera, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've gotten better at talking to my camera as though I'm talking to a friend or a family member. Whereas in the beginning, I kind of was like really stiff and I just didn't know how to talk to a camera.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you're watching it back, you're like, oh, if I was burnt out and I didn't want to make a video that day and I didn't feel like filming, I feel like I give off just like tired energy or just like I
Mm.
don't really, you don't really feel like being there. And so
Yeah.
also like with creator burnout and everything, it's like I really try to film on days that I feel recovered, like I feel like I'm myself, versus
That
if I
makes
didn't get
sense.
any sleep that night or if I'm not passionate about, even if it's like a topic that I'm not really passionate about, because I've definitely filmed some videos like that where I was like, I'm not really interested in going to X, Y, and Z, but I'm just going to go because I thought it would be cool,
Yeah.
And I feel like you just sense that energy. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm only going to go to coffee shops that I really am excited to go to. You know what I mean? Like it's all those things. It's like the little choices that I feel like are make a bigger impact on the greater scale.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like as well, like in your case, actually, the video that I talked about for the one that I made in Bali could work for you as well. Like in my case, it was like testing 1-star rated smoothies. In your
Yeah.
case, you can actually test 1-star rated coffees. And what I did, because I didn't want to roast like a smoothie business, um, because that's not a bad. I don't want to be like, oh, that's a bad smoothie. Don't go here. That's because there's an entrepreneur behind that, and they don't
Totally.
deserve
Yeah.
to be bashed, right? So what I did is I basically looked up like place that I really wanted to go to. Like you said, I was really excited to go to these places, but they had a few bad reviews. Because any big coffee place, any big like restaurant, whatever, will have some
Yes.
bad reviews. So I just highlighted the bad reviews, maybe 3 bad reviews for every place that I went to. But actually, it's a really well rated place. But I just like I said, I just highlight the bad ones, and then I just go to the place, and it's like, oh no, it's way better. So it kind of gives like a wholesome twist to the video, because it's every time it's like,
Mhm.
oh, this was really badly rated, but actually it what turned out to be really good. It's great people working there, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it works well because people like to watch negativity. So they're on YouTube and they're like, oh, that's bad rated coffees. I want to see that. I
Yeah.
want to see people roasting that. But then it turns out to be wholesome. So it gets the click. It's not clickbait because you're actually going to those places, stuff like
Right.
that. So it gets the click because of the negativity, but people keep watching because you kind of give it a wholesome twist. I think I kind of
Mhm.
watched a lot of Ryan Trahan videos, and he does that a lot. And I
Mhm.
thought like, oh, I need to do that too, but then with smoothies essentially. I think with coffee it could be pretty cool as well, actually.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And also, like, it makes sense for who you are too. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like maybe that's their brand is to be negative on certain kinds
True.
of restaurants or whatever. But I feel like you're just not even a negative person,
No,
So
I would feel so bad.
yeah, and I would too. I mean, because it's so true. It's like that is an entrepreneur. That's somebody building their own business. Like that'd be so. These are people. Like I don't want to be bashing on any of them because they're putting
No.
probably a lot of work into it.
Yeah, exactly. And like for some places, of course, they were not great. Like I went there and I was like, it's not amazing, but maybe I'll give it like 4 stars, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a 4-star place. I'm still not roasting them. I'm still being honest.
Yeah.
But I would never go to a place like, oh, this is bad. Don't go here. This is terrible. Then I would just skip it from the video basically, because like you said, that's not my personality. And I feel like
Hmm.
it's really important to really show your actual personality in your videos. And
Yeah.
it's kind of in my with my new videos, like my Dutch videos that I'm making as well. Like I really want to have my personality in there. And for me, sometimes I see like videos where someone is like really energized in their voiceovers and like really saying like crazy stuff, which is really gets people to watch basically. And I was sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to do that too, but I'm like, no, that's totally not me. So what I kind of
Yes.
went with is kind of like my voiceovers are like really relaxed. I'm not talking like quietly whatever, but it's still like very relaxed. And I
Mm-hmm.
put like meditation music behind the videos as well, which makes no sense for a smoothie video. But I've got a lot of comments basically where people say like, "Oh, your voice is so relaxing," and I don't care about smoothies, but I just watch this video on repeat, even though it's actual recipe video, and
Yeah.
but I still like to be like it's an actual recipe video, but it's also kind of like almost like a meditation to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of what happened with this channel. Of course, like people didn't even know it was smoothies, but they watched it because it was really relaxing and kind of ASMR. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to kind of keep that ASMR or kind of relaxing vibe in my new videos as well, because that's just my personality as well. For me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just a relaxed guy. I'm like I said, not quiet, but I'm just laid back, and I want my videos to be the same. I think like I said, the more you keep your personality in your videos, I think that will make you way more interesting. And there's this guy, for example, there he also makes smoothie videos. He's called Caden, I think. He makes smoothie videos. He's called Smoothie Flip, I think. And he's such a cool guy. He makes also really thick smoothies, and he's just kind of like more outgoing, I guess. And he just does like crazy backflips and handstands while he's making a smoothie and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I need
Yeah.
to do cool stuff like that as well. And I'm like, no, that's not my personality. You
Yeah.
know,
You're
that's
like, I also need to learn how to do a backflip.
yeah, basically. I think one day I actually was like, I wasn't trying. It was like I need to do stuff like that, but also you don't want to copy someone. Of course, that's definitely not what I
Right.
want to do. But also, it's
Yeah.
just not my personality. I think it will be really awkward if I would start doing that. It will not come across as genuine, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think having your own personality there is great. And I think with my top creators that I follow, that I really care about, I feel like when I meet them in real life, I would be like thinking that I'm friends with them, and I would kind of have to tell myself,
Right.
you don't know these guys, don't go up to them, whatever. They
Yeah.
don't know who you are. I think that's such
It's
a strength of them. I think you have that as well. Like I know you, of course, and when I watch your videos, I'm like, "Yeah, that's just you." But then in a video, basically, I think that's really powerful because people watching you, they don't know, their brain doesn't know that they're watching a YouTube video. It feels like for them that they're actually spending time with you, and I
yeah.
think a lot of people talk about that, and YouTube tells me that as well. Like that, the future of YouTube in their idea is that it kind of feels like you're talking to a friend, basically. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of my partner managers said that actually that kind of is kind of the content style that they're going towards, where it's more like talking to a friend, because that's kind of the human connections that people are craving.
Yeah, and that was exactly why I actually started making vlogs too, because it was all that I would want to watch because it literally felt like I was hanging out with a friend, you know? And it's so interesting because actually recently I've been trying to watch other people's videos to get inspiration, see what they do, like what their editing techniques are like. And recently I was like, man, maybe I should be more animated. Like I would say I'm a pretty outgoing person. Like I like talking to people, but I'm not like, hey, like I'm not super animated when I speak. And especially in my weekly vlogs where I'm just doing my day-to-day life, like I'm definitely not animated every single day of my life.
No, that
And I
makes
kind of
sense.
had this crisis of like, man, should I be in order to make a good YouTube video? And then somebody who actually watches my video, she was like, no, like people like you for who you are, and I think I need to remind myself that like this is my personality. It will bring a community of all the people that I've met so far. It's like I would be friends with them, like it's bringing a tight knit community where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing like I need to just reinforce that I need to just do my personality and be who I am,
Yeah,
because I definitely went through that phase of like, am I doing this wrong?
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But it is such an interesting, like, I don't know. It's cool to do YouTube. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I feel like a lot of people are migrating from short form, like Instagram and all that, kind of onto YouTube. Are you seeing
Yeah,
people
for
that you
sure.
follow on there?
Sorry.
Are you seeing people that you follow on Instagram like move over to YouTube?
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually. I think because that's because like at the end of this month, maybe for people watching, if you're in the UK, I'm speaking at TubeFest, and actually one of the things that I'm talking about there is just that short form video, like and doing that as a full time creator is just I would say it's pretty much not a long term game. It's just a short term game to get momentum, to kind of get into the scene of being a content creator. But I don't see like a long term career doing short form videos because, like I said, I really think it's so important to have like a community. And with short form, that's just so difficult. So in
Mm-hmm.
that talk, I'll just be sharing that a lot. That I'm like, I think long form, in terms of just in terms of course no monetization, long form is much better. So that's what I see a lot of creators. They get like momentum. They go to TikTok, go viral there, get a few brand deals. Like maybe they're creative for like 1 or 2 years, and then they're like, okay, I want to actually do this full time, but not just doing this full time on like a decent level, but really grow to this into like kind of like a media company. And if you want to do that, then that doesn't just work with short form, because then you don't have that audience, you don't have that community with your audience. So I see so many people now going to long form. It is like what I've noticed as well, like going from short form to long form is like so difficult. It's it's just a whole different ball game. And in terms of now you're
Hmm.
actually making an actual video, you actually have to do something about storytelling. Like I feel like short form
Right.
video, if I look at my scripts, it's kind of like it's still, I guess it's good scripts, but I don't really have to think about retention because it's only like a 30 second or 50-second video.
Hmm.
But and with long form, of course, you have to think about retention. You have to think about your title and thumbnail. And I think for a lot of people, that's very difficult because you feel like you're such a big short form creator in some cases. But then it's very humbling to go to long form on YouTube and be like, okay, now I actually just get 100 views, whatever. And it's still then you have to kind of start over again. And I think a lot of people
Right.
don't have the ability to let go of their ego basically and kind of just go towards that and just keep on going with long form, even though they are used to certain views. I think that's great that you're doing that. You're just mainly focusing on long form because, like I said, that's a long term game. So it's better to it's going to be more difficult. But it's if you're successful at one point, then that's just what then you basically you're settled for long term already. Whereas with short form, you're not really building anything basically. With your long form, you'll definitely be gaining something. And I think now you're at 1,000 subscribers, right, or something.
Almost. I'm like just shy of it.
Oh, nice. So after this live,
Yeah.
so,
We'll see.
yeah, but I feel like
Um,
that's with your like 1,000 long form subscribers is like probably worth like at least 10,000 short form subscribers, right? That's
mhm.
definitely what I've been seeing. Um, and yeah, like I said, that's what I'm focusing on as well. And I see a lot of creators talking about that. Like there's so many people nowadays successful with short form content, but not really like sometimes I see people, I meet people at like these big YouTube events and like, oh yeah, I still like have a job. Like there's a lot of people doing content creation part time, and that's
Mhm.
fine. If that's your, if you accept, if you're okay with that, that's fine to me. But I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people want to do content creation full time, but it's just difficult with short form content.
Mhm.
So that's kind of if you're listening and you're a content creator, then it's always so important to if you're doing short form to do long form at least at the same time as well, because that's how you're actually going to be able to monetize. That's how you're going to be able to work with brands long term as well. And with
Yeah.
short form, yeah, I think that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I also do feel like though on Instagram, like I've been trying to do stories because I feel like that's the closest thing to a vlog that I can get to on Instagram. And
Yeah,
so I've never really been into stories, back before making content, it would just be like one aesthetic photo and then on to the next. But I feel like I've been really trying to document what I would document on my long form YouTube videos
yeah,
and show like people more of an inside scoop. And I feel like that is kind of like how you convert short form maybe to more of a retention, like more of a loyal audience, because they actually get to see a little bit more than just like the curated lifestyle short form content that I'll make. So
yeah. That's so
it's
true.
still like a new concept to me, but I'm just trying it out. But I feel like it's cool. Like I like it.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, stories has been around for like such a long time, but I still feel like it's undervalued because of
Hmm.
course all people are doing it, but like you said, I think it really works well when getting like those short form subscribers or followers to really get to know you, and it feels like way more personal. And for me, for example, when I was making these videos, like on Instagram, there was the same videos as on YouTube, so it was not showing my face, was usually no voiceovers in there, so
Hmm.
people didn't know me and probably didn't care about me either because they didn't know that they subscribed to me.
Hmm.
So I remember at one point all my videos went viral for the first time. So I grew from like 1,000 followers on Instagram to like 100,000 and a few 100,000 followers. And then I was like, oh, let's start posting stories. Like I'm gonna get so many people learning about my life and stuff like that. And I think, like I said, I had like 200,000 followers. Posted a story and I had like 1,000 views or something. So no one cared about my life basically. But I just kept on consistently last 2 years basically posting stories,
Hmm.
just things that are sometimes related to smoothies, but also sometimes just me celebrating Christmas, whatever, just really personal things that I was like, I don't care if people care about this, but I care about posting this. I'm just gonna put it out, and with the story,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it doesn't get any views. But for me, being consistent with that as well showed a lot of progression as well. Like nowadays,
Hmm.
I think I get on average like 15,000, 20,000 story views, which is crazy to me because, like I said, normally it was like 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks ago or something, I posted like a story. I'm not sure, even sure what it was. Maybe me going on a hike, or it was something very personal, like not related to smoothies whatsoever. Oh, it was about my move actually. So my move from Amsterdam
Mm.
back to my hometown. So I just posted like a lot of text and then a photo for my empty apartment, and I think it got like 25,000 views. And that I was like,
Wow.
that's like very new to me that people care about that I'm moving and that I'm moving to
Yeah.
somewhere else, and people DMing me, and I was like, finally, I have like some sort of community, people caring about that, they're following me, and but that's such a long time. So I think doing stories consistently from the start is really great, and that's really how you get fans as well, like from short form without having to make like 20-minute videos or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it really is consistency and just putting yourself out there, you know? Because also,
Yeah,
like, I don't know, again, going back to if one person likes it, that's good enough for me. And it's like, I love seeing you move, and, it's like, it's such a, even if it's friends or family or whoever it is, it's like, you have people out there who care, and who like want to see you, what you're doing in life and how you're doing. And I think that's kind of like the point of social media too, it's like to see what other people are doing. Like that's what the whole community aspect of it is like. Um, but
yeah,
it's
for
cool
sure.
that it's cool seeing growth too, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of, you have to balance it a little bit, I guess. But I still really believe, and that's what I found now as well, that growth comes from like really focusing on that. But I never really
Hmm.
realized that. And for me, like my channel now that I have, like I said, I think now on YouTube I have 1.7 billion views, and that's all great, and it was a really cool experience. But now, like I said, I'm really trying to move away from that and just really focus on building connections, and that's just so much more fulfilling. And at the end, this is going to be our long term, hopefully our long term career. Hopefully we'll be doing this in 20 years. Maybe we'll still
Hmm.
go live in 20 years from now, you never know.
Hopefully.
Hopefully for even more people. But
Hmm.
then if I want to do this in 20 years, then I have to be so passionate about this. And I talked about it with my parents and girlfriends, stuff like that as well. Like last year I was not passionate about my videos, to be honest. Like I
Hmm.
was just doing it for because it was my job. It kind of felt like a job, and that's such a shame because you're
Right.
doing this because you don't want to have a job. You don't want to have a 9 to 5. You want to have your own thing and build something that you're passionate about. And I used to be, when I was maybe like a few years ago when I was starting my own business for the first time, like every Sunday I had difficulties to sleep because I was so excited to get to work basically the next morning.
Hmm.
And I feel like I got to a point last year where I was like every Sunday was like, I wasn't dreading Monday morning, but it was kind of like, yeah, all right, well, tomorrow we're gonna work again, and
Yeah.
wasn't even enjoying it anymore. And I think that's such a shame because you're doing this. I might as well get a job, right? If I'm not enjoying it, then a job is better because then at least you have a stable income and stuff like
Right.
that. So then it
That's
was
so
like it's
true.
better to kind of let go of posting every day and just focus on doing something I enjoy, and I'll see how much money I make. And to be honest, last 6 months I made like, sometimes I didn't even make enough money to pay my rent. I just had to kind of like use my savings, stuff like that. But that was worth it to get to this point where I'm now making money with actually content I enjoy. And like now I can hopefully do this for 20 years and still enjoy
Hmm.
this, not face like creative burnouts. And
Right.
that's so important.
And having more of a balance. And I feel
Yeah.
like, there's different phases when you're doing content, because I'm right at the start, but I've also felt that where like, when I first started making content, I was so excited. I still am very excited, but it's like there are days that are hard, like there are days where I'm like, what am I doing? I don't feel like I'm not doing something right, or you have self-doubt and everything. But it's like I need to, whenever I have those days, I'm like, okay, I need to remember why I started doing it, and like get back to that thought process, because I feel like no matter how passionate you are about something, it can always feel mundane when you've done it for a long time. Like you're 8, 9 years in, and it's like at some point it's gonna feel mundane, but it's like in the beginning you were probably so excited about monetizing and um having a viral, like your first viral video. Yeah, I just had my first viral video. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, exactly. How was it? How did
um,
you like? Was you like very like refreshing like your Instagram all day, or how did you
oh
cope
my.
with that?
No, I actually was on it too much, where I was like, Megan, you checking your analytics every 5 seconds
Oh
is
yeah,
not going to change anything. And if anything, it's just a distraction. And also, like, I think for the first video that went viral, I was like, it's okay because it's my first time. Like, this is totally new to me. And it was super, you work really hard to get there. And I was making so many different kinds of videos. And so it's been 13 months, and it's like I had my first viral video. So I kind of let myself bask in it for a little bit, and
You deserve the
then
dopamine after that time.
right. And so like once I kind of had that though, I was like, okay, I can't, you waste time to an extent where you're just like scrolling and refreshing the page because it really doesn't like mean anything at the end of the day. Like you still have to keep making content.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
so it was cool. And then I was like, all right, just back to work.
Back to work, yeah, because that's the best time. Like when you go viral, then, like I said, I always say like it's kind of like an oil stain because people start watching your other videos, and also the algorithms start referring your newer videos to the people that watch your viral video before. So now you're like in a
Mhm.
really good position. So if anything, you should be like limiting your social media intake and just be really creative
Exactly.
and relaxed. And I don't do that myself. Like I struggle with that too. Don't get me wrong, but it is always I have noticed that like once the ball gets rolling, then it's so easy to start growing. Basically, it's kind of like a snowball
Mhm.
effect, I guess. And
Yeah, and I think that's when you asked me like how many reels I was posting, I think it was right after I hit my first one. I was posting probably 1 to 3 times a day.
oh
Because
wow,
it's like
yeah,
you have the momentum and so you want to use it and like keep making as much as you can. So that's where my focus from making long form kind of shifted. And it's just shifting. It's like whether, on long form, if I'm filming every single day to film a weekly vlog, or if I film like spend a day with me, it's kind of more
yeah,
like specific. And so it kind of gives you a little bit more time to work on short form or other parts of content. And so during that period of time was definitely when I was like, okay, I'm doing a lot on the short form
yeah. That makes
content.
sense. I think that's a
Yeah.
great move as well. Like I said, I'm doing that with the Dutch one as well. Like I have one video that had 1 million views, and I was like, now I'm posting just every day and seeing where that takes me, basically. Because
Hmm.
as soon as you have some validation that there's something here, then you really want to see like now I want to quickly see like is there something here? Like are these formats working for me consistently? And
Hmm.
like you're just posting like once a week, that's gonna take a while to find out, basically. And for
Yeah.
me, for example, with the Dutch one, I was like also like I want to post like every day for like basically 2 weeks and kind of see if there's brand deals coming towards me, because like I'm kind of pivoting from this channel. Well, this channel is always going to be there as well, of course, but on top of that, I wanted to focus on the Dutch one, but I was like, if there's no brand deals there, then there's no money there, and it's a business, so I need to make money as well. It was like if I start posting every day, then um, I can kind of hopefully see that there's brand deals coming in, and that gives me some validation. Okay, it's worth pursuing this more because there's some revenue in there, and that's what I've seen actually last week. That I think in the last 4 days I had like 3 brand deal offers. Finally, after a long time, so that's really interesting because, like I said, I used the momentum from going viral to really start posting more, and that resulted in getting some brand deal offers. And now I know, okay, this Dutch channel, there's some revenue in there, so this can be an additional channel for me. So next to this one,
Right.
I'll also focus on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I would have been like, okay, this is great, I have 1 million views, and I'm just gonna refresh my notifications every time and not post more, then I would have never gotten those brand deals, because just one viral video, brands don't care about that. That's kind of luck,
Right.
because they see, okay, you got 1 million views, but then also 200,000 views, and kind of getting those
Hmm.
views consistently.
Yeah.
That's been really valuable for me to get brand deals and yeah, kind of monetize it correctly as well.
Yeah, I also noticed that it gives you just more data. Like obviously numbers are numbers and you want that growth, but also what I've realized is especially like when I first started making YouTube videos for probably a year, I didn't have enough data. I didn't know a good click-through rate because they all were the exact same. Like I wasn't getting a reach, I wasn't getting a lot of numbers. And so I think the best part of like what's happening right now is that I'm getting more of a reach. I'm getting more data to see like what's working, what's not for short form and long form, and like what people actually want to watch, and also what I want to make. I feel like there's a happy medium, like what you also feel like making. Because I
Yeah,
mean, for me personally, if something went super viral, I think it'd be really hard for me if I wasn't passionate about it to keep making that. Because like, again, going back to like authenticity, it's like maybe that's not who I am. Maybe that's not what I want to post.
yeah.
But it is cool, like having the analytics behind it to be like, oh, okay, maybe I can pivot this way or, etc.
Yeah, exactly. You know what you're aiming towards, and I feel like on YouTube, for example, with the swipe to view rate, stuff like that, like seeing that a viral video kind of needs like being close to 80%, then you can
Mhm.
see that okay, this next video that I posted only had like a 50% swipe to view rate, so probably this is not a great opening. I can start testing different things, and if every view of every video has like the same metrics, then like you said, it's difficult to kind of see what you're aiming towards and what is working, and now you kind of have some validation. Okay, this is working for me, so first of all, you can just make a similar video, um, and see if that works, but also make variations of that. And I think I saw on your Instagram that you were doing that, kind of like make similar videos, but also make variations of the viral videos that you've had. I think that's a
Yeah.
really good move.
Yeah, just trying new things. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you actually, when you started making content, was it always what you're making right now? Like, was it always satisfying smoothie videos like from the blender? Or did you start out, I don't know, filming rating smoothie shops or like lifestyle vlogs? Like, did you try other things first? Or did you just kind of jump into this and like stay consistent with it?
Yeah, and so for me, I think I'm a really good example of that. You have to find a winning format and kind of double down on that, because it's also in the TubeFest talk that I just sent in a presentation today, so I kind of know what I'm going to be talking about. And like 8 years ago, I think I started making videos in April of 2017. So I think that's pretty much to the day, or at least a few weeks from now, that will be 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started, and it's still funny to me that going back to that now, like sometimes I scroll back to my Instagram, seeing like my old videos and old posts, basically, and I was already making mainly smoothie bowl photos in that case, so not videos, but mainly photos, because then Instagram 8 years ago was all about photos and nothing else,
Yeah.
basically. And it's funny to me that 8 years ago I thought it was fun. I was doing it on a daily basis. I was making smoothie bowls, and it's so interesting to me that 8 years later today I still am so passionate about making those things. So that gives me a lot of confidence that 20 years from now I'll still be enjoying that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was making really bad photos, basically, and also like at one point I started making videos, but it was like really cringe stop motion videos, and it was terrible, basically. So I've been really consistent with making smoothie videos, and that's kind of my format. That's always been what I've done. I've never made any other content. Well, I've made like recipe videos, like just
Mm-hmm.
actually cooking videos as well, but that's pretty similar. But
Mm-hmm.
most of it was just smoothie bowl photos, and then later some videos as well.
When you
Um,
made that content, did you feel like it was good? Like, did you post it and you're like, "Oh, this is a good reel," or "This is a good photo," you know? And then
yeah,
look back and be
I
like,
think I
"Oh,
was
that was."
pretty proud. And honestly, like if I look at some of them, like it's not even that bad. It was pretty good photos, but I mean, a photo is so difficult to go viral with. Like, how amazing
Oh, yeah.
does a photo have to be for you to share that with a friend? You know, that was very difficult at that time. And with videos, that's way easier. So
Mhm,
for me, I was always like trying different things. I was making photos, and I was making smoothie stop motion videos, and
mhm,
trying different formats. And I think at one point, I finally was like, oh, I need to buy this blender, this Vitamix blender. I need to buy like a better phone to make videos, actually make video content instead of photos, because I was
mhm,
making photos for years, and photos are so that's kind of my safe place. I really had like a nice setup to make like really high quality photos, and that
mhm.
was like so low effort. And then making that step to video was pretty difficult to me, because I was like, I don't want to go to that step. It's going to take so much effort. Kind of what I think about long form YouTube videos now, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Um, so I was trying different things, and at one point, like basically every other video that I posted, I was hoping that it gets millions of views, but it never happened. Like for 5 years, no one was watching it. And then at one point, like I said, I bought a blender, bought a phone, bought like a ring light, stuff like that. And then I started posting like these specific satisfying smoothie videos. I didn't even know it was satisfying, but I found that out later.
Yeah.
But that's really when it started to click for me, when I had this format, and that took a long time because I had to save up for the blender, which was $500, and like more equipment and a phone, stuff like that. So I had this
Mhm,
idea of making this format for like 1 or 2 years, but never really pursued it. And then at one point, I really went for it because I was like, I mean, my online store wasn't doing that well, so I was like, I needed a new impulse basically to get more views. And yeah, this at one point this format went viral. I think I posted for a few months, and then it went viral. And yeah, never. And now it always goes viral, or at least like now it's doing well consistently. But like I
mhm.
said, I think it took like 5 years of making videos on like a few on like a weekly basis, or sometimes even a daily basis, before I found that format. And then when I found the format, then I'd really double down on that, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, that took such a long time. And looking back on that, I would like if I would have told myself, like basically my 21-year-old self, like, okay, you're gonna post photos and videos for like 5 years without basically anyone watching, I would have quit like on that day right away. I would have never
Yeah.
do with that, right? So now I'm of course really grateful for being in this position, but
Yeah.
I mean that would have been crazy to me.
Did you have, like, blind confidence in yourself? Like, what was the reason that you stuck with it?
I'm not sure actually, because I always say, like, I wasn't really talented, to be honest. Like I'm not like my first photos like were really bad, and I was like I don't even want to talk about my first post on Instagram. They were like horrible. It was It's terrible. It's like kind of like some sort of infographic where I was sharing like tips about healthy lifestyles, or it's about
Mhm.
smoothies, whatever. And it was so bad. And for me, like the only reason I'm successful, or whatever you want to call it, today is that I just was like really consistent, and I really gradually grew, like got a little bit better at making content. But it's like I don't see myself as a talented person whatsoever. I'm just, for some reason, I'm really good at like doing bad things, or like not bad things, but like things that I don't enjoy for a long time. I'm really, I'm just really, I get obsessed about things I do, and I think that's a really good thing
Mhm.
to have. Like there's no reason for me to continue making these photos and videos when I was doing this for 3 years. I should have stopped, basically. Like logically, I should have stopped, but I didn't for some reason, because I
Yeah.
was really obsessed with it. And I think that's kind of my talent, if you want to call it a talent. And I'm just really obsessed. And whenever I do something, I just really
Go
do
all
everything
out.
I can to learn, go to events, meet people, learn, read books, watch videos. I just really obsess about it. And I think that's so important. And because I was not confident whatsoever that it would be successful. I think I was just a bit naive, I guess. Maybe I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this and maybe I'll be rich, whatever. I think kind of that was kind of my mindset at the time.
Yeah.
So I think being naive a little bit and just being really obsessed, I think those two things are like really important.
Yeah, I think not a lot of people, I think there's so much virality in content that not a lot of people that realize how slow of a progression it can be, especially with YouTube. And honestly, probably Instagram too. I recently kind of started my Instagram account, right? Like a few months ago.
Yeah.
But for YouTube, it's like you have to be so consistent to grow. And the thing is, like, it's never, you're not going to get like a million overnight. You might
No.
get a million on a video, or on a short form video. But it's like, it's a slow progression. It's like you just have to really, really love it and be in it to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And so, like, to your point, it's like you kind of have to be obsessed. But I think that's like what I think that's really hard for a lot of people. So it's like that totally is your talent. Is like you stuck with it, and whether it was naive or not, it's like you believed in yourself and you did it.
Yeah.
Um,
True.
which
And
is
I feel
cool.
like I talk with people as well, like some friends or something that are like, oh yeah, I want to be a content creator as well, but they don't have something that they're really obsessed about. And like I said, realistically, I mean, 5 years I think is a long time. I think maybe for most people they can do it in a shorter time. But let's say you have to do something, you have to make videos for 2 years without any reward, basically. Then still you have to be super passionate about the videos that you're making. And
Right.
for example, my girlfriend would love to make content, but she hasn't really found her passion, and in terms of finding an obsession that you really can work on for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm really not necessarily lucky, but that's kind of like you said, my talent. I guess that I found a really niche that I'm really passionate about, and I was really able to commit to that. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that. And I always give Mr. Beast as an example as well. Like he didn't even have a passion. Like when he made videos when he was like 13 years old, that was Minecraft videos. Like he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
probably care about Minecraft nowadays, but he was really consistent. Like he was just posting videos on a daily basis for basically 10 years. And then, yeah, probably most people will not be the biggest content creator in the world after that, but you will be in a position where you can probably do this full time if you commit to that for like 10 years. And hopefully a
Mm-hmm.
little bit earlier as well, you can actually
Yeah.
reach those goals. But
Yeah.
even then, yeah, I think that's consistency is like just the most important thing. And even in within even when you are successful, because like basically last year I had 1 million subscribers, and then I was like, okay, now for the rest of my life, I'll be a successful YouTuber. That's kind of what I felt like. But I realized that even then, consistency is so important, because I think that applies to every creator, every business. Like even if you're successful, like still you happen to experience like these ups and downs, basically. And
Yeah.
it's never like a flat line where you're like consistently making the same amount of money, the same amount of views, same amount of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really what I've learned. That like last year, like I said, like maybe from September until March, basically my views were a lot lower, my revenue was like a lot lower. Some months I wasn't even making enough money to pay my rent. Like I said, I had to pay. Sometimes I had to use my savings, and
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty very good insight for me as well. I was like, okay, even if you're successful, you feel like you're successful,
What
you
people
still
think
have to be
is
consistent.
success.
What defines success? And I feel like that's something that I'm really happy to learn now as well. Like last 6 months, I just had to still be consistent, and now I'm rewarded with the best day ever in terms of views. And I really love seeing like being rewarded for your consistency, basically. And I think that's something a lot of people actually don't get to that point, and that's such a shame, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think going back to TubeFest, they posted something of like all the people who even reached to 500 subscribers and 750 and 1,000 subscribers. Like the percentage who actually make it there is so low because I think, especially in the beginning, you know, when you have 20 subscribers, and in my case, like I was making vlogs, like it's really hard to get people to want to know about your life because you're just another average person on the internet, you know, like
Yeah.
you're just another person. And so it's interesting, like getting to those certain milestones and being like, oh wow, like, you know, hitting that is it's meaningful, you know, and it is, you know, sometimes it's just numbers, but it also proves that like you are you're doing the right things and you're like you keep going at it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really important. And like the milestone of 1 million was amazing for me, but like I said, it was probably even more good for my business in terms of my knowledge as well. That I learned that okay, even if you have 1 million, that's a great milestone. That's something you need to celebrate. But still, that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't guarantee that you're making money. That doesn't guarantee that you're able to do this full time. You still should always um, be able to progress with your content. And that was kind of I was kind of flatlining in terms of my development. I was making the same videos, and if you're not
Hmm.
making progress, then you're basically losing out. And um, like that, I felt like I kind of got lazy because I was like, oh, I have 1 million subscribers now. Now I'm done.
Right.
Basically, that's kind of what
But
it
it's
felt
like
like.
I feel like with content, it just never ends though. It's like when you hit that, you got to pivot, and that's just kind of the reality of content, which again, these are all things that I have very recently learned. You know,
Yeah.
it's all so new to me still in the grand scheme of like people making content for years and years and years. And even like yourself, but it's like you really just have to keep experimenting, like no matter what stage you're at. And I recently read Mr. Beast's like booklet that he wrote.
Oh
And
yeah.
he talks about that too. He was like, you know, you constantly have to be developing and experimenting and trying new things, and I was like, that was actually a very helpful book, especially in terms of like editing and flow of videos. I That was something that I actually never read it and helped a lot. I just read it last week.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really important. And it gets increasingly difficult. Like the more you grow, the more expectations people have. Like let's say in your case, your one of your coffee videos in a few months from now gets like 1 million views, for example. Maybe people
Hmm.
now expect from you to make videos about coffee. And of course, you're really passionate about coffee, but you don't want to
I
be
do
like
love
the coffee
coffee.
girl.
Yeah.
And then maybe and you still have to pivot then to maybe more lifestyle videos, like more personal videos, whatever. And that gets
Right.
increasingly difficult, like the more expectations people have from you. But yeah, we talked about that where that's you can't like let those expectations guide you because then you're burning out, you're not growing, and
Hmm.
that's such a big danger if you have like if you're in this line of business basically.
Hmm. Do you have any like goals for yourself for the end of this year? Because now we're in Q2 for talking
Yeah.
quarters.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that like you want to keep growing or doing, or like maybe trying something new? Like, is there a little sneak peek that you can give to your audience of like what you might be coming out with?
Yeah, for sure. So I think in this live, I talked a lot about that I'm focusing on this Dutch YouTube channel and this Dutch TikTok that I have. And maybe when you're watching this as a follower, you're like, okay, but where's this channel in the bigger picture, right? Like, is this still important to you? And actually, this Dutch channel for me is kind of like a short term thing where I want to kind of validate that more personal videos that are more recipe based, where I add more value to my community, that there's an audience for that. And my goal is my short term goal basically is to grow this, or not short term, but my goal for now is to kind of grow this Dutch channel to like 100,000 followers and really do this. Like this has to be like an actual revenue source for me, where I do brand collaborations. I get more invited more to events in my home country because that makes my life a lot more fun, and I meet more people. That's kind of my essentially my short term goal, and I'm kind of close to reaching that because now I've got like three collaborations coming up on the Dutch one, so that really makes that into a business as well. But that's kind of like a short term thing because more long term, I love being more like in the Dutch YouTube community, being like more visible there. But I personally, my biggest goal is just to be like a US based content creator, or at least like an international content creator. That's what I'm doing now. That's what I enjoy most. So
Hmm.
there's kind of this Dutch one is kind of like a test for me to see if there's people, if there's an audience for these type of videos. And when I have that confidence, then I feel more confident as well to make those videos on this channel, because then I know maybe if the first one doesn't get a lot of views, I know it's a good video because it's performed in the Netherlands as well. So it should also be able to perform in the on the English channel basically. So then it gives me confidence that okay, maybe the first few videos might be low on views, but long term probably it will perform a lot better. So, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
building up that confidence to start posting that here as well. So if you're subscribed to this channel, then that's kind of what you can expect here as well. Like, of course, I'll always be posting like the ASMR satisfying smoothie videos, but there should be a lot more focus on me as well as a creator, as a person, and making personal videos, really helping you guys to also to make like the actual smoothies. And um, that's kind of what the Dutch one is for. It's kind of like a test phase for me to go to the next step. So at the end of the year, probably, hopefully, I can be more successful with long form and short form. That's way more personal on this channel and way more um, like recipe style videos, basically.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see
Me
it. I need to
too. Yeah.
subscribe to your Dutch channel too. I'm not going to be able to understand what you're saying, but I'll subscribe to it.
Yeah, I think on TikTok you have like subtitles that you can change to your language, I think.
Okay.
But still, like if as long as you keep watching it, then it's good for my retention.
Yeah,
And I think
true.
it's good for you to see like the different style that I have there. I think you'll enjoy that, and you
Yeah,
can learn some Dutch along the way.
that's true. I know with captions.
Yeah,
I
for
gotta
sure.
Duolingo it.
Yeah, for sure. That will be good for you.
That's funny. Yeah, I think for my channel, I really want to get more into like life in Portland and what navigating a new city, new life, new hobbies, new everything kind of in a new city. Like I've never left California, so moving to Oregon is
Yeah,
a very big change for me. And it's pouring rain outside right now, and that's what I'm looking
really.
at.
Oh,
It's downpouring, and I'm not used to that coming from
no.
LA. But I'm really excited to like be in a new community and just trying new things and like getting outside of my comfort zone. And I feel like I really want to like lean into that more in upcoming videos because I think a lot of people like are curious about moving to different cities, but then might either feel too comfortable in their position, like they don't want to leave, they don't have the opportunity to move to a new city.
Yeah,
So I kind of want to shed light on like what living in Portland is really like, because there's so much negativity out in the news, and there's so much like being said about this city specifically. And so I'm gonna be curious to see like what life is like here, and I don't know, kind of give people an inside scoop.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if you look, I always hate like, well, I used to do that a lot, but I used to always have like goals in terms of number for the end of the year. But I've realized that numbers don't mean anything, and I've kind of stopped being like, oh, I need to have like so many subscribers at the end of the year, because you never know. You can never really grasp those numbers, I think, like a long term. But for you,
Hmm.
like if we're like, let's say it's December 2025, like what kind of videos do you hope to be making? And in terms of what videos do you hope to be successful in your channel? Is that like the coffee videos? Is it like Portland based videos? Like what's your like kind of midterm or long term um, content style that
Yeah.
you like want to work towards?
Honestly, I started out YouTube knowing exactly what kind of videos that I wanted to make. Like I always wanted to make vlogs. And so I feel like right now I'm literally only doing things that I actually feel passionate about. And
Yeah,
so, sometimes I am like, oh, if I do something Portland related, should it be super like the best X, Y, and Z here, or like the top attractions? And again, that doesn't really feel like me. So I kind of twist it into a way that does feel like something that I am passionate about, whether that's like everything that you should do and go eat, in Portland, and kind of like twist into what I want to make. So honestly, I just want to kind of keep growing and trying out new types of videos. And so to answer your question, like I want to keep doing what I'm doing, but then also branch out a little bit and see like where the creativity might lie, like and
yeah,
see if I can try different kinds of videos while still showing people my personality and um just like what life is like navigating your 20s, because it's so much more challenging than I was expecting,
yeah,
and
for sure.
there's some good and some bad, but it's a lot of change and a lot of growth that happens in your 20s. And so I just kind
Yeah,
of like want people to see what that actually looks like without it being super fake, and be like, I love everything about moving. I had no hard feelings. I don't miss LA. You know what I mean? Like obviously I miss LA and I miss a lot of aspects about my previous life, but there's also so many good in my new life too. So just kind of being a little bit more like transparent and authentic.
yeah, I think that's great. Like so many people struggle with that kind of things. Like I've kind of realized that as well. Like now I've turned 30, so I'm no longer in my 20s. So I think then you start realizing how difficult your 20s can be, and also how impactful they can be. Like kind of what
Hmm.
I've done in my 20s. Sometimes I was now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, when I look back on it, like I was working just a lot. I was kind of building this, and then sometimes I'm like, oh,
Right.
that's such a shame, because I mean, your 20s is that you're still young and you can do so many things. But on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, now I can really get to reap the benefits of that. So I'm really happy actually now looking back on that, that I just sometimes maybe I worked a little bit too hard, but also learned from that I worked too hard. And now I kind of know that I have to balance it out a little bit more. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's now when you turn 30, you really realize how important it is to enjoy your 20s and but also really build something in your 20s because you're still young, there's less pressure, like you don't have kids usually. You don't have like
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have a house, don't have a mortgage yet. In my case,
Mhm.
so I think it was such a perfect time to really start building on something. I took on a lot of risk in the last 10 years, basically, but that's the best position to be in when you're in your 20s, I think.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at right now, like we just moved and my head's down. I'm all focused on YouTube and that's just like every single ounce of energy is pretty much in that.
Yeah,
And so is my boyfriend's. So we're kind of in it together where we're both just like grinding and this is what we're enjoying right now. And we have the ability to, which I think is really important. It's like I think that's why your 20s are so impactful is because you have that chance to have like time to build something and start it from scratch
yeah.
and take risks.
Exactly, yeah. Because there's
Yeah.
so many people as well in their 20s, like, and sometimes when I was in my 20s, I would look at my friends and they would just be going partying a lot. And I would probably sometimes be jealous, like, oh yeah, they're having so much fun, they're having so many experiences. But I think if you look back on that, probably you're like, oh, that's pretty shallow, maybe. I think when you're in there, like, oh, you're really enjoying your 20s because you're partying and you're meeting so many people.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, you don't really have something built when you reach your 30s, basically. And that's kind of what I'm happy with. Like maybe I didn't party as much as those people, and I met less people than they did. But I
Hmm.
think I built something that I'll be benefiting of the rest of my life, hopefully. And
Yeah. No, you're
yeah,
proud of.
I don't think a lot of people will look back at, oh, I'm so happy that I partied so much and stuff like that. I think that's not something that's really giving you like long term fulfillment. And
Hmm.
whereas building a business, I think definitely builds a lot of fulfillment. It's difficult, of course, but it gets you a lot of fulfillment.
Yeah, I think I got lucky because I've always been an early to bed, early to rise kind of person. So
That's
like
great.
I've never had FOMO when people go out because I'm like, if I'm not in bed by 9:30, I'm actually not gonna be happy. Like I need to go to bed. And so
Yeah.
like I've luckily not had like the partying phase. I mean, probably in college, but um all in all, I just didn't that I don't know. That's never been something that I've wanted, which I think has set me up in a good way to just be a little bit more focused and like make sure that I'm putting in the work that needs to be put in.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really important. Like for me, I think really lucky to meet my girlfriend because like she was like really chill. Like she was also like that she was wanted to be on Saturday night in bed by 9, basically. And I think I kind of had like this urge to really party and go out. And I didn't do it as much, but I think that was partly because I had her in my life, basically. She was kind of keeping me a little bit more chill. And that really helped me I think I needed that in order to be successful with my YouTube channel. I think if I was single, for example, I think then I would probably have focused more on like partying and drinking and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
think that would have not been a great base for a business because I know a business is asking so much from your body then partying at the same
Yeah.
time is not a great combination either.
Yeah. No, I need my sleep.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. That's why I need my sleep in like 1.5 hours from now.
I know it's late for you. It's 11:30 for me. What time is it for you?
Yeah, so it's 8:30 for me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
it's
gonna have to
very
get to
different.
bed.
I'm pretty close to going to bed. Yeah.
Well, that was so much fun. I'm glad we were able to do a live here and my
Yeah, that
first
was
YouTube live
amazing.
ever.
Yeah, that's I'm happy to be a part of that. Actually, maybe next time we can do it on TikTok because that's the only platform we haven't done yet. So that could be
That's
a good.
true.
Actually, maybe what I was thinking about, maybe going live on the Dutch one would be pretty cool as well because that's where I get a lot of engagement. And I think the people enjoy English content as well. So that would be that doesn't matter that it's in English. So maybe that could be a great option as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I can expose you to the Dutch TikTok community.
And then I'll have to come visit.
Exactly, for sure. We can do a real life.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining. It was great.
Yeah, excited to get together in person one day and hopefully just keep doing these lives.
For sure, that'd be great. We'll be keeping doing this, and I'll follow your coffee videos and any other videos you're putting out. And if people are watching, I think we have 26 people now. Make sure you follow Megan because she's making really cool content. I'm watching basically every video, so you should too. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live, I guess.
All right. See you guys. Bye,
Have a great
Joey.
day. See ya.
You too. Bye.